France. She really trained her 4 daughters. She refused that we cook and clean because she didn't even want us having everything. And I remember I was at the MEDUP 4 years ago or 5 years ago when there was the Women's Day, and I sat in the room, and in fact, the president of HP got on the scene and he said, "You women, you don't have any of the men code." And there were many women, there were around 400 women from Sciences Po that were in the room. And all of a sudden I realized my mother didn't give me the women code. She prepared me to have all of the men codes, the men, and I realized that's why I was so successful in my career, as Mecca as well. And today I really think, well, one of the things very important that you had mentioned, the women, any women owner will re-inject in the society and her neighborhood 90% of what she gains. This is the big difference. And this
Absolutely.
is why we need to protect them. And Elizabeth Moreno said at the MEDUF that today a woman in France has 37% less retirement. So these are the things that are the disasters that really change the economy. And today the women has to be supported. I mean, unfortunately, I have a husband that has Alzheimer's. So all of these things that we deal with is very complicated. And the woman does not take the role, not because she doesn't think it, although there are many, problems with that too, but she has a lot of things to handle and she's not getting the full support. And I think now what had happened today with the COVID-19 is the working at home is very productive. None of the children want to go back to school. I have many friends that did homeschooling, and the French system doesn't appreciate homeschooling. And all of a sudden, the women spend 4 months homeschooling their children. So this is something to be rethought, our whole system. And as you said, 2 years ago at the largest real estate in the real estate show in the world, Ban Ki-moon came, and many of the real estate people said they're not going to invite him back because he said there is no planet B. We have to change things. We have to change the cities. 67% of the population will be moving to the cities. It's exactly what you said in the beginning of this discussion. And what I found out, I remember I went to an event on sustainability, and all of the women there were presidents. So we have the chance that in the green force and in the sustainability force and in the inclusive force, the women actors are there. And now the society has to readjust, because I also work with Poonam Barua, who created the Will Forum in India, and she wrote a book on leadership by proxy. The women have been there totally. We have been defending the companies. We have been bringing in the money. I work with Gloria Moss, who is also one of the largest specialists in the world of gender equality. We are actually spending 85% of all the money that is re-injected into the society. So we have to be addressed, and we have to also be protected, because thank goodness we were able to protect ourselves in that knowledge, because there were many confusing things that happened during this. And yesterday on the news, they says we're going to tell you in a couple of days. So it doesn't look like it's over. It doesn't look like it's over, but as you said, we have proven that we have the right directions and we need to be listened. And I think that's what the Women Forum is about. So tell us about the exciting things of how you're going to digitalize everything.
Okay, we will do something quite unique, because what we want to do is, of course, as you said, spread out all around the world and associate our wonderful community all around the world. And we are organizing some, if possible, it depends what it will be in November, physical places all around the world where people will gather and connect with the world and all together see what happens on the Women's Forum. Again, the focus will be on the recovery. And I like very much, we decided to call it the Shecovery, because it's a new word, but it means what it means. You can understand perfectly what is behind that. And what it's for sure that we will give the floor to, of course, head of state of government who dealt with the crisis. And I didn't talk about your prime minister, but it's an idea that I will explore. Thank you for giving me this insight. We will, of course, give the floor to those who have been dealt with the crisis at the level of the central banks. That means, of course, Christine Lagarde, Kristalina Georgieva, but also vice governors all around the world. We choose one in Canada, one in Rwanda, and one in Italy. 3 women who are the number 2 of the central banks in their countries and who dealt with the crisis day and night, thinking maybe how the investment, the financial allocation could be done, also having in mind also the gender equality and the need to associate women. Then we will have panels on, of course, our 5 daring circle, our daring circle who will launch on each of these initiatives and projects that we will carry out worldwide. Then it will be, of course, on climate change again. It will be on the procurement as a tool, as a key for promoting diversity and women leadership worldwide, and of course access to capital. Then we will have, of course, what I said, the importance to women in STEM and showing examples of women leading in industry that succeeded in a very amazing way. Maybe if it was unexpected, just because they have been daring, then it would be a panel on daring women. Then will be, of course, one.
And the audacious women.
Audacious, absolutely. But it's, I mean, daring, audacious, you're right. But it's really that. We have to put them in value. Then, of course, it will be a very important part on health. And what you just said, it's very important. You know, everybody knows that women have been maybe less affected as a number of people dying by the COVID-19, but we also know that women live at least 5-6 years more than men in average worldwide. But what we don't say, that women arrive maybe at an elder stage. I mean, they're older than men, they live older than men, but in bad health. And that it's not interesting. What is important is that women could arrive to live as much as possible as men, but as healthy as possible. And there is a big injustice between how men arrive and how autonomous they are and women. And it's not just a question of finance, of pensions, of retreatment. It's not that. I'm talking about health. There's women are very disproportionately affected by the lack of diagnostic of some diseases that are not considered diseases by men, by the lack of the drugs or what should be something that women need to recover. By the way,
not always. The maternity alone, the number of women that die.
I'm not talking just about maternity. I'm talking really about diseases that are not taken into account, that are just, even that are not recognized as cardiological diseases of women, that are not on the books of medicine and they're not taken into account as something important. And of course, that some drugs that women needs are not refunded because they're not considered as important, etc., etc. And there's a big injustice without, and I come back what I said before, because without forgetting the mental health, that it's not a woman disease, but because we are multitask and we do so many things all together, are affecting more women than men. And it's not just, it's not just a social and human issue. It's also a very important business issue. Just in the UK, it has been estimated that the mental health costs 65,000 billion a year to the companies. And of course, it's something that's not refunded by the Social Security neither. I'm not talking only in France. It's not something taken into account in the right way. And this is all kind of things that we are, of course, putting on the floor to the G7 countries. But there's also all the issues that has been risen during the crisis of unpaid care. How many women quit the job because there are social pressure to take care of their parents-in-law. Look at Japan. If you look at the laws, you have the impression that women are protected, but in the fact, the society doesn't allow you to work if you have all the people to take care. They would not understand that you stay in your bank or your lawyer firm and that you have people that you don't take care of. Then this is a very important collective responsibility again, but especially the states, to create an environment that takes care of the elders, then letting women the time to pursue their career. And coming back to maternity, because you're talking about maternity, another big issue that we rose, and we are really pushing the head of state and governments to take in account what we propose, is paternity leave. Because of course it's great when a woman can quit for 2 months, 3 months, great. But at the end of the day, when she comes back, somebody else had to do her work, and she's always, I mean, it's always a question of how you reposition yourself when you come back. But if men also take a paternity leave, it will be different, because men also will be absent and will restart or recreate their career. Then they will be in the same position. And of course, what is great, if fathers are home to take care of the children when they are small children, they immediately understand how beautiful, how exciting, how amazing it is to take care of them. They fall in love, and they will be naturally, the more you know, the more you love. I mean, the more they see how it is, because I mean, the image is, oh, I have to do this, those are duties. No, in fact, it's a pleasure. It's a privilege to take care of children. And also, of course, the household, because if you're home and you help your wife, it becomes like natural things. It's not something that you're obliged to do, because we just see this normal. And something that we propose at the Women's Forum that's quite original, it's that we propose that we, in the paternity leave, that we would like to make mandatory and fully paid for 2 weeks in all the G7 countries. That means that it's not only in France, where we have advanced, or in other countries like Italy, where they're very advanced, but in all the G7 countries, including the United States, that should lead by example. Because if you don't create this environment, you will never be able to promote the career of women. You know what we propose? We propose that 2 days are mandatory before the mother goes to the clinic or to the hospital. Because like that, they will be responsible before she leaves of the household. That means that she can go in the clinic and just have in mind, I will have a baby. Not my fridge is empty, my children have to go to school, I don't know how to, to make my homework, and so on and so forth. I mean, it will make that she will be completely free to take care just of the most important things, the child that has to come. And this is quite revolutionary, because you don't have it known on the social system worldwide. And it's also change of mentalities, because that makes that the husband or the man will feel responsible also of the birth of the child. And you see, it will make a difference in the change the mindset, it changes stereotypes. And all this, it's, it seems small things, but small things, because small things, we can really change the world.
Well, they're not